In the middle of a crowded alien city, under glowing signs and floating vehicles, an alien single mother named Lyra hurried through the streets. Clutching her child's broken toy, her small child, Tycho, walked beside her, tears streaming down. His tiny face, the toy, had been his favorite, a small robot with bright lights that moved like it was alive. Now it lay cracked and silent in her hands, a twisted heap of metal and wires. Lyra stopped in the middle of the busy walkway, trying to calm Tycho. "Don't cry, little one," she said softly, her alien voice trembling. But Tycho only sniffled and shook his head. "It won't work, Mama. It's broken forever." Lyra felt a pang of sadness deep in her chest. She had tried everything at home to fix it. Tiny tools, glue, even her energy crystals to power the little lights. Nothing worked. And now the child's joy had disappeared like the morning mist. Around them, aliens of all shapes and sizes moved past, some glancing at the small scene, others too busy with their own lives. Lyra felt invisible, as if no one could see her pain. She lowered herself to Tycho's height, holding the broken toy gently. "I promise, Tycho, we will make it better," she said, though her voice lacked certainty. She knew she could not do it alone. The toy was strange, advanced, and too complicated for her knowledge. A soft hum drew her attention. Coming from a small shop tucked between larger buildings, the sign above flickered in human letters. "Marin's Repairs, all things mechanical." Curiosity mixed with desperation as she peered inside. The shop was small, but filled with tools, parts, and glowing gadgets at the far end. A human worked with steady hands on a tiny device, his face focused, calm, and kind. Lyra hesitated, unsure if humans could be trusted, but her child's crying left her no choice. The human looked up, noticing her at the doorway, and offered a small, encouraging smile. "Hello, do you need some help?" he asked in soft English. Lyra's alien features twisted with hesitation, but she stepped forward. "My child's toy. It is broken. I tried to fix it, but I cannot," she said, her voice quivering. The human nodded, gesturing for her too. "Bring the toy inside. Let me see what I can do," he said, his tone gentle, inviting but careful. As she handed over the toy, Tycho clung to her side, still uncertain. The human examined the robot closely, turning it over in his hands. Tiny lights flickered weakly, circuits misaligned, gears jammed. "This is advanced tech," he murmured. Almost to himself, Lyra watched silently, feeling hope and fear swirl together. She had never seen anyone handle the toy with such care, such patience. Outside, the city carried on. Oblivious to the small drama inside the little repair shop, the alien sun began to set, casting a reddish glow through the dusty windows. Lyra paced slowly, listening to the quiet hum of the human's work. Each movement, each careful twist of his tools seemed magical, as if he could bring life back to the toy. She realized she had never met anyone like him before. Someone so calm and kind. Minutes passed like hours, and Tycho finally stopped crying. Watching the human work with wide eyes, Lyra felt her heart lighten slightly, though she did not dare hope too much. "What? Is it broken badly?" Tycho asked softly, peeking at the toy. The human smiled at the child. "It's tricky, but I think I can make it better," he said. Tycho's eyes widened, a small smile forming as the first spark of hope returned. Suddenly, a faint flicker of light shot from the toy, making both Lyra and Tycho gasp. The human's eyes widened in surprise. "This toy? It's more alive than I thought," he said. Lyra held her breath, her hands clenching nervously. What if it could not be fixed? What if something went wrong? The toy's small lights blinked softly, almost like it was responding to the human's touch. Lyra felt a strange mix of fear and wonder, unsure what would happen next. As the evening deepened, the human continued his careful work while Lyra watched. for the first time in many days. She felt a flicker of hope. Tico's small hand squeezed hers, whispering, "Do you think it will be like new again?" Lyra nodded slowly, a faint smile forming. "I think. Maybe it will," she said, though the answer was uncertain. Outside the shop, the city lights flickered, and the hum of life continued. Inside, a small miracle was beginning to unfold. One careful turn at a time, and somewhere in the back of the shop, the human wondered quietly, why did this little toy feel so special? Why did it seem almost alive? Almost magical? The night was only beginning, and none of them knew that this small broken toy would soon change everything. The night outside the repair shop was quiet, but full of distant city sounds. Lyra stepped back, holding Tycho close, her heart still tight. With worry, she could not stop thinking about the human who worked on the toy. There was something calm and gentle about him, something that made her hope that maybe, just maybe, he could help. Tycho tugged at her sleeve, his small eyes wide. "Mama? Do you think he can really fix it?" Lyra smiled faintly, brushing a tear from his cheek. "I hope so, little one. Let's see," she whispered, inside the shop. The human's hands moved carefully, tiny sparks flicking from the toy's circuits. Lyra watched from the doorway, unsure if she should step inside or wait outside. The hum of machines and soft glow of lights filled the small space, making it feel safe. Yet outside, the alien city seemed cold and uncaring, as if no one could understand their small struggle. Finally, the human looked up and noticed Lyra watching him. He gave a small nod, almost inviting her to come closer. Her stomach twisted with nervousness, but she stepped inside. The warm glow of the shop wrapped around her, a small comfort in the strange city. Tycho clung to her side, peeking at the human and the tiny robot with cautious hope. "You came back," the human said softly. Not a question, but a statement. Lyra hesitated. I wanted to see if you really can fix it," she said, her voice trembling. The human nodded. "I think I can. This toy is strange, but not impossible. It just needs patience." Lyra's eyes softened. "I tried myself." "But I could not," she admitted. The human smiled gently. "It's okay. Not everyone can do this. Sometimes it needs someone who knows how to see the hidden parts." Lyra felt a strange warmth in her chest, a small hope she had not felt in many months. Tico's voice piped up. "Will it work like before?" The human crouched to Tico's level, his eyes kind. "I will do my best. We'll make it better than before." The boy's small hands reached for the toy. And the human carefully handed it back. Tico's fingers brushed the glowing parts, and a faint light blinked in response, making both the child and Lyra gasp. "It's alive," Tycho whispered, eyes wide with wonder. Lyra smiled, feeling the first relief in a long time. But a small knot of worry remained in her chest. The human looked at Lyra quietly. "Why is this toy so important to him?" Lyra's shoulders slumped. "It is the only gift from his father, who is gone," she said softly. The words hung in the air. Heavy with emotion, the human nodded, understanding without judgment. "I see. Then we must take care of it together." Lyra felt a lump in her throat. She had never trusted anyone like this before, yet something about the human's calm presence made her believe he truly cared. As he worked, the toy began to hum softly, tiny lights flickering. Tycho watched closely, stepping back in awe. "It's moving." Lyra held her breath, fear and hope clashing inside her. The human smiled at Tycho. "It's not fully fixed yet, but it is responding." Lyra's eyes softened as she realized the toy was more than just a toy. It was a piece of hope, a connection between her child, and now this human stranger. Outside, the city seemed louder, the distant sirens and floating vehicles creating a strange rhythm. Inside, the small shop was quiet, filled only with the soft hum of the toy and the human's careful work. Lyra watched as he adjusted tiny gears and circuits, his hands steady, confident, patient. She realized she had never seen anyone work like this. Not in all her struggles alone, it felt almost magical, as if the human could understand the toy better than anyone else could. Suddenly, a spark jumped from the toy. Small but bright, Lyra flinched, holding Tycho close, fear rising in her chest. The human's hands moved even faster. Steadying the tiny robot, "It's okay. Small sparks happen. Nothing dangerous," he reassured. Tycho smiled. "It's like it's alive." Lyra's heart warmed as she watched her child's joy return, even just a little, for the first time in days. She felt relief, hope, and gratitude all at once as the night deepened. Lyra realized something she had not expected. This human, quiet and kind, had brought not only her child's toy back to life, but also a small spark of trust, hope, and connection she had almost forgotten. She did not know what would happen next, but for the first time, she felt that maybe, together, they could face whatever challenges were coming. And the toy, tiny and glowing, hummed softly, as if it understood. Waiting, watching, ready to bring the first step of something new into their lives. The next morning, the tiny repair shop was quiet, filled with the soft hum of machines and glowing tools. Lyra stood beside her child, Tycho, as the human mechanic. Named Jaren carefully placed the broken toy on the workbench. Tycho's small fingers hovered over the robot. Wanting to help, but knowing it was too delicate, Lyra watched nervously, her heart racing. Wondering if the toy could truly be fixed this time, Jaren examined the robot slowly. His hands moving with precision and care, every part is connected. He explained quietly, "If one gear is out of place, the whole system stops." Lyra leaned closer, curious despite her worry. It seems so complicated," she said. Jaren nodded. "It is. But not impossible. Patience is key." He gently lifted a tiny panel, revealing a tangle of glowing circuits, each one pulsing softly. Lyra gasped softly. The toy seemed almost alive, as if it were breathing under his careful hands. Tycho watched, wide-eyed. "It looks like it's moving," he whispered. Jaren smiled, "Not yet fully. But it's responding to the energy inside it." Lyra's heart swelled, hope mixing with fear. She wanted to trust Jaren, yet the toy's faint flickers made her nervous. What if it broke completely? What if this tiny robot, so precious to her child, could not be fixed at all? As Jaren worked, he explained his process to Lyra. "I have to align every circuit, adjust the power flow, and make sure it responds correctly." Lyra listened closely, her hands clenching, feeling helpless, but wanting to learn. Tycho peeked over her shoulder, fascinated by the glowing wires and tiny moving gears. "It's like magic," he said softly, eyes shining. Jaren chuckled. "A little bit of science, a little bit of care, and yes, it looks like magic." Suddenly, a small spark jumped from the toy, making Lyra flinch. Jaren's hands moved instantly, steadying it. "It's okay. Sparks happen. It shows the energy is alive." Tycho clapped his tiny hands. "It's alive. It's alive." Lyra smiled, feeling a mix of relief and awe, watching the child's joy return. She realized that this tiny toy meant more than just play for Tycho. It was a connection to something important, a piece of his father, a symbol of love and hope. Jaren worked carefully, his hands steady as he adjusted tiny gears and circuits. He explained, "Some toys are simple, but this one, it's advanced technology, almost like it can think." Lyra's eyes widened. "Think, like it's alive." Jaren nodded, "Not fully, but it reacts to care, attention, and energy, like it remembers love." Lyra's heart tightened, realizing how important this small object was for her child. She had never seen Tycho so captivated, so happy, It made her hope that maybe, just maybe, they could overcome all their troubles together. Hours passed, the tiny shop filled with soft humming sounds, sparks of light, and faint smells of heated metal. Jaren's hands never wavered, his focus absolute, while Lyra and Tycho watched anxiously. The toy twitched slightly, its tiny limbs moving as if testing its strength. Tycho reached out carefully. "Can I touch it?" Jaren smiled. "Yes, but gently, it's still delicate." Tycho's fingers brushed the glowing robot, and a small light blinked in response. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. The sight of her child's joy was more than she could bear. As Jaren continued, he paused, noticing something unusual. "Lyra, this toy. It has hidden circuits, something beyond normal playthings," he said quietly. Lyra frowned. "Hidden? What does that mean?" Jaren studied it carefully. "I'm not sure yet, but it seems designed to respond to emotions, maybe memories." Lyra felt a chill, wondering what secrets this toy might hold. Her child's favorite toy was not just a toyette, carried something mysterious, something powerful. She trusted Jaren, but a small part of her worried about the unknown. The evening sunlight filtered through the dusty windows, casting long shadows across the shop. The toy began to hum steadily, glowing brighter than before. Tycho's eyes shone. "It's perfect." Lyra felt relief flood through her, but she could not shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Jaren looked at them both quietly. "It's fixed for now, but I think it's more than just a toy. There's something inside it, waiting to reveal itself." Lyra nodded slowly, her heart filled with gratitude and wonder. She realized that this tiny repair had not only restored a toy, but also a small spark of hope in their lives. And as night fell over the alien city, with lights flickering and shadows stretching across the streets, Lyra, Tycho, and Jaren did not know what mysteries the toy would bring next. But for the first time in a long while, they felt ready to face them together. The next morning, the small repair shop was quiet, bathed in soft sunlight filtering through dusty windows. Lyra watched as Jaren worked on the toy, Tycho leaning close. With wide eyes, the robot hummed softly, its tiny lights blinking as if it were alive. But today, something felt different, unusual, almost secretive. As Jaren examined the circuits, a hidden compartment slid open unexpectedly, revealing a tiny, glowing chip. Lyra gasped. "What? What is that?" Jaren picked it up carefully, turning it over in his hands. "I've never seen anything like this," he said quietly. The chip glowed softly, projecting faint holographic images into the air. Lyra and Tycho leaned closer, their eyes widening. As the images became clear, the holograms showed a strange city, unlike any they had ever seen, with towers taller than the clouds. Strange creatures moved through the streets, some friendly, some dangerous-looking. But what caught Lyra's attention most was the child in the hologram. It was Tycho. Only in the images he played with the same toy. Laughing, Lyra's heart ached and swelled at the same time. Could this be a memory? A message from somewhere else? Tycho stared, mouth open. "Mama? That's me." Lyra nodded, holding him close. I don't understand, little one." Jaren watched quietly, a thoughtful look on his face. "It seems this toy remembers. More than just play, it keeps memories, perhaps even feelings." Lyra shivered, realizing the toy was not ordinary. It held part of her child's happiness, maybe even a piece of his father's love, stored safely inside. Suddenly, a soft hum filled the room, the toy's lights pulsing faster. Tycho stepped back, eyes wide. "It's alive." Jaren nodded. "Yes, but it's more than alive. It reacts to emotions, to hope, to love." Lyra felt tears prick her eyes. The toy had not only been broken physically, but it also needed care, patience, and understanding to awaken fully. She looked at Jaren. "Do you think it can show more?" Jaren nodded slowly. "I think it wants to, but we must be careful. It might reveal things we are not ready for." As the holograms shifted, they began to show places Lyra recognized. Hidden corners of the city where she had struggled alone. Lonely streets, abandoned buildings, even the quiet park where she had once tried to teach Tycho to walk. It was as if the toy had recorded their lives, keeping memories safe. Tycho reached out, touching the hologram. It knows us. Lyra felt a mix of wonder and fear. How could a toy hold so much truth, so much history? Jaren leaned closer, inspecting the chip. This technology is ancient. Older than most devices here. It was designed to connect with life itself, to feel, to remember, maybe even to guide. Lyra's hands clenched nervously. Guide? In what way? Jaren shook his head. I do not know yet, but it seems this toy has a purpose beyond play, beyond memory. The thought made Lyra uneasy, but also filled her with hope. Perhaps this tiny robot could protect, teach, or help them. Tycho's eyes shone as he watched the toy. Can it really help us, Mama? Lyra nodded slowly. I hope so, little one. We must trust it. As the day passed, more holograms appeared, showing places and events that Lyra had long forgotten. Some happy, some painful, some mysterious. It was like the toy carried their lives within it, memories frozen in light and circuits. Lyra realized that fixing the toy had been only the first step. Now it was revealing secrets. Secrets that could change their lives forever. Jaren worked silently, carefully adjusting the circuits to stabilize the holographic projections. He looked at Lyra. It's delicate, but it seems to want to share with you, to show you things that were lost. Lyra nodded, feeling a strange mix of fear, wonder, and gratitude. She had never imagined a toy could hold so much, could understand, could guide. Tycho watched, hugging the little robot gently, whispering, I like it, the toy responded, blinking and humming, almost as if it understood. As the evening sunlight dimmed, Lyra realized that the broken toy had given them more than joy. It had given them memories, connections, and now secrets. She looked at Jaren. What should we do next? He smiled quietly. We follow it carefully and see where it leads. Lyra nodded, holding Tycho close. A small spark of hope glowing in her heart. The toy hummed softly, pulsing, with light ready to reveal more of its hidden world. And in that quiet shop, surrounded by shadows and soft glows, Lyra, Tycho, and Jaren knew that their lives were about to change forever. The glowing toy hummed softly in the small repair shop. As evening fell, Lyra held Tycho close, watching the tiny holograms dance in the air. Everything felt calm, almost peaceful, until a low rumble echoed from outside. The soft hum of the city had changed, replaced by a harsh vibration under their feet. Lyra's ears twitched nervously. What is that? She whispered. Jaren's eyes narrowed, scanning the shadows outside the windows. I'm not sure, but it feels like trouble, he said, his voice low and cautious. Tycho peeked from behind Lyra. Mama, are we in danger? Lyra hugged him tighter, trying to calm both herself and her child. I don't know, little one. We must stay calm, she whispered, suddenly. The shop door rattled violently. A shadow moving across the window. Lyra gasped, stepping in front of Tycho. Who's there? The shadow hesitated. Then a deep, gruff voice called, Give us the toy. We know what it is. Jaren's hands moved quickly, securing the toy on the workbench. Lyra's heart pounded. The calm moment shattered. They are after the toy, Jaren said, eyes scanning the street, and they will not stop easily. Lyra felt panic rising. She had never faced danger like this before. Tycho clung to her leg, trembling. "Mama. They will take it." Jaren knelt beside them, speaking softly. "We must stay quiet and think carefully. The toy is important, but we cannot fight them without a plan." Lyra nodded, swallowing her fear. Realizing he was right, she had relied on courage and hope. Before now, she had to rely on strategy too. The shadows outside grew larger. Strange silhouettes of alien gangsters, their eyes glowing faintly. They were tall, menacing. Armed with weapons that buzzed and sparked, Lyra's stomach churned. "Why? Why do they want it?" she whispered. Jaren shook his head. "I do not know fully, but this toy. It is rare, valuable, and powerful." He glanced at the toy, glowing softly under his hands. Humming almost like a heartbeat, Lyra realized that this tiny robot was not just a toy anymore. It was a target, a treasure, a secret. Tycho whispered, "Mama, will they hurt us?" Lyra hugged him close. "No. We will not let them," she said firmly, though fear tingled in her voice. Jaren moved to the corner of the shop, quickly setting up small gadgets and lights. He whispered to Lyra, "Follow me. Stay close. We'll find a safe path out." The toy blinked in response, as if understanding the danger. Its soft lights cast shadows across the room, creating a strange, almost protective glow. The gangsters tried to push the door open, but Jaren had already reinforced it with his tools. "Stay behind me," he called, holding a small energy shield. Lyra grabbed Tycho, her heart racing, her mind spinning with fear and hope. They had to escape, but the streets were crowded, and the gangsters were skilled hunters. Every second mattered. Every movement could mean safety or danger. Jaren opened a secret panel in the wall, revealing a narrow escape tunnel. Lyra hesitated for a moment, glancing at Tycho. "We have no choice, little one," she whispered. Tycho nodded, trust in his eyes. "Let's go, Mama." They slipped into the tunnel, Jaren leading carefully, the toy glowing softly in his hands. Outside, the alien city roared with activity. Unaware of the small drama unfolding in the quiet alley, the tunnel was narrow, dark, and cold, but safe for now. Lyra's heart pounded as she followed Jaren and Tycho. Every sound outside made her flinch. Every shadow seemed dangerous. Yet the toy hummed steadily, its lights pulsing as if guiding them. Lyra realized it was not only a toy, but also a protector, sensing danger and responding. Hours passed in tense silence as they moved through the hidden paths of the city. The gangsters searched for them above, but the small human and alien family remained unseen. Lyra finally allowed herself to breathe, feeling a fragile sense of relief. Tycho hugged the toy, whispering, "Thank you for keeping us safe." Jaren smiled quietly. "It's not over yet, but we have a chance." Lyra nodded, realizing the truth. The toy had changed everything, but danger was still near as dawn approached. The trio emerged into a quiet alley, hidden from the city's chaos. The toy hummed softly, lights flickering like tiny stars. Lyra held Tycho's hand, looking at Jaren. We survived, thanks to it," she said softly. Jaren nodded. "Yes. But we must be ready for what comes next. The toy has secrets we have yet to understand." Lyra looked at the glowing robot, feeling hope, fear, and determination all at once. They had survived the first threat. But the real journey was only beginning, and somewhere in the shadows, the gangsters regrouped. Plotting their next move, the toy hummed softly, almost as if it knew, almost as if it were ready. Lyra, Tycho, and Jaren stepped forward together, prepared to face whatever lay ahead. The first rays of dawn crept over the alien city, casting a soft golden glow on the hidden alley where Lyra, Tycho, and Jaren had taken refuge. The narrow space smelled of dust and old metal, but for the moment, it was safe. Tycho clutched the glowing toy tightly. His small face still pale from the night's terror, Lyra held him close, her own heart still racing, but she felt a fragile sense of relief. Jaren examined the toy carefully, adjusting tiny circuits and checking the energy flow. "It's stable for now," he said quietly, "but it's delicate. And the gangsters could come back." Lyra nodded, understanding the truth. "We need to hide, somewhere safe." Jaren glanced around, noticing a partially collapsed building nearby. "There's a place we can use. It's hidden, and it won't be easy for anyone to follow." Tico's eyes widened like a secret hideout. Lyra smiled faintly. "Yes, little one. A secret hideout for now." They moved quietly through the alleys, careful not to make a sound. The toy glowing softly in Jaren's hands. The city around them began to wake. Vendors calling, floating. Vehicles passing overhead, yet in the hidden paths they walked. Everything felt tense and fragile. Every shadow seemed to hold a threat. Every distant noise made Lyra's stomach twist. But Jaren led them with confidence, his knowledge of the city's hidden corners giving them an edge. Finally, they reached the abandoned building, a structure tall and hollow, with broken walls and empty rooms. Lyra and Tycho stepped inside, their feet echoing on the dusty floor. Jaren set the toy down on a makeshift table. "Checking the circuits once more, it will stay stable here," he said. "But it's not just the toy we need to protect, it's what's inside it." Lyra frowned. "Inside it? You mean? Its secrets?" Jaren nodded. "Yes, the toy is more than a plaything. It holds information, maybe even guidance." Lyra hugged Tycho tightly. "Then we must guard it, no matter what." Tycho smiled faintly. Still frightened, but feeling safer with the toy near. "Will it help us, Mama?" he asked softly. Lyra kissed his forehead. "I hope so, little one. We must trust it." Jaren adjusted a small energy panel on the toy, and the lights pulsed steadily. It hummed softly, almost like it understood their fear and hope. Lyra realized the toy had become more than an object. It was a companion, a guide, a protector. As they settled in the abandoned building, Lyra began to notice small details. The toy's lights cast shadows that seemed to move gently. It hummed in rhythms that matched her heartbeat. She realized it was reacting not just to energy, but to emotion. Tycho laughed softly. "It's like it knows us." Lyra nodded, smiling. "Yes, little one. It knows us." But despite the temporary tension lingered in the air. Jaren kept watch near the doorway, eyes scanning every alley. "They will not give up easily," he said quietly. "The gangsters want the toy. And they will come again." Lyra's grip on Tycho tightened. "Then we must be ready." The toy blinked in response, lights pulsing gently, as if agreeing with her. Lyra felt a strange comfort, knowing it would alert them to danger. Hours passed slowly in the quiet hideout, filled with soft hums and glowing lights. Tycho explored cautiously, peeking behind broken walls and old crates. Lyra watched him, feeling both pride and fear. Jaren worked silently, repairing small parts of the toy, whispering explanations to Lyra about its circuits and energy flows. She listened closely, learning, understanding, and realizing the toy was more than just a machine. It was alive in a sense, and it responded to care, patience, and emotion. As night fell again, the toy's lights pulsed softly in rhythm with their quiet breathing. Lyra looked at Jaren. "Do you think it can guide us? Lead us somewhere safe?" He nodded slowly. "I think it already is, but we must be cautious. There is more to learn." Tycho hugged the toy, whispering, "Thank you for keeping us safe." Lyra smiled, tears forming, realizing that even in this small, fragile moment, hope existed. They had survived the first night of danger, found a temporary haven, and the toy had proven its power and loyalty. Outside, the alien city continued its restless hum. Unaware of the small family hidden within its walls, inside, Lyra, Tycho, and Jaren rested, knowing that safety was temporary. But for now, they had each other. And the toy, glowing softly, and that small comfort, fragile and fleeting, was enough to keep hope alive. The night stretched on, shadows shifting. The toy humming gently. Lyra held Tycho close, whispering, "We are safe." For now, the toy pulsed in quiet agreement, as if promising more secrets, more guidance, and more adventure to come. The morning light spilled into the abandoned building, casting soft golden rays over the small family. Lyra stirred, holding Tycho close, who had slept beside the glowing toy all night. The toy hummed softly, lights flickering gently, as if it had watched over them while they rested. For the first time in days, the quiet seemed peaceful, almost safe. Tycho's eyes opened, bright and curious, and he reached for the toy. "It's morning, Mama. It's working," he exclaimed. Lyra smiled, brushing a strand of hair from his face. "Yes, little one, it's working." Jaren adjusted a small circuit. Nodding, "It's stable, and seems to be responding more than ever now." The toy blinked its lights, almost like it was happy, pulsing gently in the quiet room. Tycho hugged it tightly, laughing softly. "I can play with it again." Lyra's heart lifted at the sound, the child's joy melting away the lingering fear from the previous nights. She realized how much hope and love this small object had carried for them. It was not just a toy, but a piece of their lives, a connection to happiness and memory. The child's laughter echoed softly, filling the abandoned building with warmth. Jaren watched quietly, a small smile on his face. It seems the toy reacts to joy too. The happier Tycho feels, the stronger it responds. Lyra nodded, her eyes soft. Then it's more than just a toy. It's part of his life, his heart. Tycho spun in a small circle, the robot moving alongside him. Following his gestures, he laughed again, pure and bright. "Look, Mama, it's dancing with me." Lyra laughed softly, a sound of relief and wonder. For the first time since the toy had broken, the fear and tension seemed to fade. The night terrors, the shadows, the gangsters, they were still out there. But in this small moment, in this hidden building, the child's joy was stronger than fear. Jaren adjusted the toy gently. "It's learning, adapting to him." Tycho's eyes shone as he watched the little robot mimic his movements, almost like a partner in play. Lyra realized that this tiny toy had given more than happiness. He had given them hope, a spark of normalcy, a small victory in a city that had felt cold and dangerous. She knelt beside Tycho, holding his hands. "Remember, little one, this joy is ours. We protect it, and it protects us." Tycho nodded, still laughing softly. "I will, Mama, I promise." The toy blinked brightly, humming in agreement, responding to their words and love. Outside, the alien city rumbled faintly, distant and unaware of the quiet triumph inside the abandoned building. Lyra watched the soft flicker of the toy's lights, realizing that its secrets and power were still there, but for now, it was a companion, a friend, and a guide for her child. The child's happiness was the key, and the toy responded to it like a mirror, reflecting joy back into their lives. Hours passed in gentle play, Tycho exploring and laughing, Lyra watching with careful attention. Jaren explained small things about the toy, circuits and energy flows. Lyra listened, understanding a little more each time. The toy pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat, alive in its own quiet way. It reacted not only to energy, but to emotion, to laughter, to hope. As the day turned to evening, Lyra felt a quiet sense of peace. The child's joy had returned, fragile but strong. The toy hummed gently, its lights pulsing like tiny stars. Lyra realized that the journey was far from over. Danger still lurked outside, but for now, they had this small, perfect moment, and that was enough. Tycho looked up at his mother, eyes shining. "Mama, thank you for fixing it." Lyra hugged him tightly. "No, little one, we fixed it together, with hope and love." Jaren smiled quietly. Watching the glowing toy and the happy child, he knew this was just the beginning of a much larger adventure. But seeing Tycho's laughter, hearing Lyra's soft words, he understood the power of something small, something broken, something repaired, something alive with hope. The night fell gently over the city, the abandoned building quiet and safe. Inside, Lyra, Tycho, and Jaren sat with the glowing toy. The child's joy radiated through the room, filling it with warmth and light. And though danger still waited in the shadows, for now the small family had found peace. The toy hummed softly, its secrets waiting, its light guiding them forward. And in that quiet, magical moment, Lyra realized that hope, laughter, and love could survive even in the darkest places. The morning light spilled into the abandoned building, casting soft golden rays over the small family. Lyra stirred, holding Tycho close, who had slept beside the glowing toy all night. The toy hummed softly, lights flickering gently, as if it had watched over them while they rested. For the first time in days, the quiet seemed peaceful, almost safe. Tycho's eyes opened, bright and curious, and he reached for the toy. "It's morning, Mama. It's working," he exclaimed. Lyra smiled, brushing a strand of hair from his face. "Yes, little one, it's working." Jaren adjusted a small circuit. Nodding, "It's stable, and seems to be responding more than ever now." The toy blinked its lights, almost like it was happy, pulsing gently in the quiet room. Tycho hugged it tightly, laughing softly. "I can play with it again." Lyra's heart lifted at the sound, the child's joy melting away the lingering fear from the previous nights. She realized how much hope and love this small object had carried for them. It was not just a toy, but a piece of their lives, a connection. To happiness and memory, the child's laughter echoed softly, filling the abandoned building with warmth. Jaren watched quietly, a small smile on his face. It seems the toy reacts to joy too. The happier Tycho feels, the stronger it responds. Lyra nodded, her eyes soft. Then it's more than just a toy. It's part of his life, his heart. Tycho spun in a small circle, the robot moving. Alongside him, following his gestures, he laughed again, pure and bright. "Look, Mama, it's dancing with me." Lyra laughed softly, a sound of relief and wonder. For the first time since the toy had broken, the fear and tension seemed to fade. The night terrors, the shadows, the gangsters, they were still out there. But in this small moment, in this hidden building, the child's joy was stronger than fear. Jaren adjusted the toy gently. "It's learning, adapting to him." Tycho's eyes shone as he watched the little robot mimic his movements, almost like a partner in play. Lyra realized that this tiny toy had given more than happiness, he had given them hope. A spark of normalcy, a small victory in a city that had felt cold and dangerous. She knelt beside Tycho, holding his hands. "Remember, little one, this joy is ours. We protect it, and it protects us." Tycho nodded, still laughing softly. "I will, Mama, I promise." The toy blinked brightly, humming in agreement, responding to their words and love. Outside, the alien city rumbled faintly, distant and unaware of the quiet triumph inside the abandoned building. Lyra watched the soft flicker of the toys. Lights, realizing that its secrets and power were still there, but for now, it was a companion, a friend, and a guide for her child. The child's happiness was the key, and the toy responded to it like a mirror, reflecting joy back into their lives. Hours passed in gentle play, Tycho exploring and laughing. Lyra, watching with careful attention, Jaren explained small things about the toy. Circuits and energy flows. Lyra listened, understanding a little more each time. The toy pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat. Alive in its own quiet way. It reacted not only to energy, but to emotion, to laughter, to hope. As the day turned to evening, Lyra felt a quiet sense of peace. The child's joy had returned, fragile but strong. The toy hummed gently, its lights pulsing like tiny stars. Lyra realized that the journey was far from over. Danger still lurked outside, but for now, they had this small, perfect moment, and that was enough. Tycho looked up at his mother, eyes shining. "Mama, thank you for fixing it." Lyra hugged him tightly. "No, little one, we fixed it together, with hope and love." Jaren smiled quietly. Watching the glowing toy and the happy child, he knew this was just the beginning of a much larger adventure. But seeing Tycho's laughter, hearing Lyra's soft words, he understood the power of something small, something broken, something repaired, something alive with hope. The night fell gently over the city, the abandoned building quiet and safe. Inside, Lyra, Tycho, and Jaren sat with the glowing toy. The child's joy radiated through the room, filling it with warmth and light. And though danger still waited in the shadows, for now, the small family had found peace. The toy hummed softly, its secrets waiting, its light guiding them forward. And in that quiet, magical moment, Lyra realized that hope, laughter, and love could survive even in the darkest places.